All right, and joining us now on Long Tossin is the Marlins first round pick in the 2021 draft. He's the Marlins number 26 prospect. It's Joe Mack, and he joins us now. Joe, Steven Strom here, Kyle Seeloff there. What's going on, man? Thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah, glad to be here. Glad I can do this. Take some time out of my day and be interviewed by you guys. This is awesome. So thanks for the opportunity.
You're having a really nice year, Joe, especially offensively. Where do you think the biggest difference is for you at the plate this year in 2024?
For me, the biggest difference is the trust and the belief that I have in my abilities and the work that I put in the off season. To go out there and just do it and not think about it when I'm doing it. And last year was a lot different. Thinking about different things with mechanics and didn't really have the mental side there either. So that also has been the biggest thing that I think I've changed is the mental side of the game. Getting smarter with my Bs, knowing what I can and can't do, knowing my strengths, knowing my weaknesses, and just applying that and going out there and trusting in it and believing it to the fullest.
Joe, you were drafted when you were 19 years old at probably the most scrutinized position in baseball, and fans are eager to say, this guy's a bust because he's not hitting 400 out of the gates at 19 years old coming out of high school and professional baseball. That's hard, man. I'm sure you see some of that stuff, but you're having a great year, as Stephen alluded to. My question for you, Joe, would simply be, how long did it take you to get comfortable in professional baseball?
I think it took me the whole entire time. I'm still learning to get comfortable. I'm definitely a lot more comfortable in the box now, but I have to give credit to last year and previous years. Me getting my butt kicked and me not performing up to my expectations and the team's expectations and other people's expectations. And I really look back on that and wanted to do something about it and not let it affect me and take me into the next year. Already defeated, and I really wanted to improve on that. And I did feel a lot of pressure when I was first drafted. I felt like I had to do these certain things, and I feel like I had to not make mistakes and different things. And that's just not true. And I feel like that's also where the mental part of the game has gotten a lot better. And I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I'm not afraid to take chances. And I'm just going to go out there and just be the best person that I can be, best baseball player that I can possibly be.
Joe, Kyle had mentioned just the pressure being drafted in that first round. Did you feel like there was a moment? Was there a game? Was it the off season where you felt like there's almost this mental hurdle you get through, and you kind of get past this first step into step two, and maybe you don't scare as much about making mistakes? Was there a moment, or has it just sort of been a gradual thing for you?
It's been a gradual thing. But I definitely think that throughout the years, it's been something that I've been afraid of, and now this year I'm not afraid of making a mistake, a throwing error, striking out, different things, whatever it is. I'm not afraid of that, and I'm only going to learn from it because you can really take everything as a learning moment and learn from it and not do the same thing next time.
I would ask you the reverse of that question then, given where you're at now. Two-part question. Is there anybody that you've leaned on, and was there any self-doubt here very, very early on in your career, like, holy cow, this isn't going well. Can I do this?
Absolutely. The person and, the thing that I leaned on is God and Jesus, of course. I have to give my credit to that. And, I'm a strong and big believer in that, and I put my faith in all that. So, I have to give credit to that for, preparing me and putting me through all that, that tough times and those struggling times, because I wouldn't be at the place where I am today with the success that I'm having, the things that are going on the field. And, at the beginning of the season, there was a little stress and a little bit of, doubt, but at the end of the day, we just went out there and I just did my best and, trusted in all the work, and, whatever happens. You can't control certain things, and you just got to let that go and control what you can control. You can control if you hit the ball in the barrel, you can control if you take a pitch, but, you can't control where the ball goes, and you can't control, where the pitcher's going to throw the ball. So, you have to kind of take those for what they are, and, you kind of have to just figure out what you don't like to do, and just improve on that every single day, because, it's a grind, and, every single day you can take something and learn from it and improve from it, even if you're doing good.
Joe Mack with us now on Long Toss and the Marlins 2021 first round pick. Joe, I do want to get into a little bit of a sore spot, and that was your injury in 2022, that torn left hamstring. How hard was that to sort of get through? I feel like we're just talking about the mentals part of it, but can you just kind of take us through that injury and maybe how that maybe affected a little bit of a slower start?
Absolutely. I've never gotten injured before on a baseball field. I've jammed my finger, got hit with the ball before, stubbed my toe, different things, but nothing to the extent of that. And staying all those weeks out and just being out of baseball for a long time kind of was messing with my head a little bit. And I was in the wrong space, wrong headspace, and instead of looking at it, as not really as a good thing, but as a positive thing, just it gives me more time to prepare for it, for the upcoming events, and it gives me more time to get healthy and ready. I kind of thought it was over, and my leg, it was the end of my first year, and I wasn't going to be able to do anything about it. But I think that's something that I don't think about anymore. I don't think about my hamstring. I don't think about different things. But I think that it was a little bit of an obstacle, but it was just a little hiccup. And now that we're back, we're healthy. Last season I was able to play. I think I was able to catch 85 games, and this year, I haven't been hurt yet. So I'm going to continue to keep my body healthy and my mind right, and be on the field as much as possible, because I've heard a lot of my coaches say that the best ability is availability, and it's true. And being able to be out in the field is you can't do anything if you're not on the field. So you want to be out and on the field as much as possible. So just being healthy, and regardless of the outcomes, whatever's happening, just being on the field is something that I want to do and want to continue to improve on. So.
Hey, at 21 years old, I mean, you're quite literally still growing and maturing. And at the AA level, you have found a way to tap into some of the power that many people talked about that they figured would show up at some point. Get really baseball with me now, like real baseball-y. Is this mechanical? Is just literally just growing, physically maturing, having a better understanding of the strike zone at the professional level? What have you done to tap into that?
I think it's a little combination of everything. I think it's the physical is definitely coming in, getting in the weight room with our strength coach, and in the off-season work was huge. The mechanics those are something that I've always tweaked here and there, and really haven't touched them since spring training. So I feel like that's a pretty good aspect of the game, and the mental side is definitely the most important part. Just continuing to improve that, and just continuing to understand what I can do, and what my ability is, and how I impact the ball, and where it's going to land, and certain things. So I think that the power is something that is just coming naturally, and I've always had some juice, and I've always had some power, and I think you can't really show that if you're not hitting the ball. So it's something for me where I just need to impact the ball, and the power will come, and not trying to create power, trying to create home runs, just trying to create barrels, and just trying to create good things so that the results will take care of themselves.
8 home runs in the month of June for Joe Mack. I got a couple more baseball-y ones, and I'll throw it to Kyle, and then we'll kind of get off the field. Be honest with me. Was there a little bit more motivation that you began with the same team that you finished the season with last year?
Absolutely. I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible, but the guys are there. Those guys are great. I love the team, love everybody, love the coaches, love the staff, love everything about that place. But my goal was to get to AA, and regardless of how long it took, even if it took until now to get to AA, I'd still be happy and still be fine with that. And being moved up at the beginning of the season was definitely a surprise. I was doing good, and I was just continuing to ride the wave. But I had no intention of coming up anytime soon, and I had no thought that they would do that this soon. But it was a blessing, and I was able to get up here, get my feet wet, and be comfortable with it. And we're just rolling from there.
Are you goal oriented? Do you have a vision of being in AAA by the start of next year or by the middle of next July? Or are you very much a day by day guy, and when somebody calls you into an office to say you're going up, you'll take care of that at the time?
Absolutely. I'm not obviously, I have goals to get to AAA and to the big leagues, and that's where I want to be and want to stay for as long as I possibly can. And I'm not trying to take that and about that and, you know, stress myself over that. You know, whenever that happens, that's going to happen. And, you know, if it's meant to be, then it's going to happen. And I'm not stressing myself about that. I'm not stressing, you know, when am I going to get moved up, or, you know, when am I going to start doing this or that? You know, it's just taking it day by day and just taking it pitch by pitch, at bat by at bat, and, you know, just soaking it in the present moment and not looking too far ahead. So
I would ask you this too, then, Joe. There's obviously been a lot of changes internally with the Miami Marlins. We saw you a little bit this spring under the direction of Peter Bendix. I've heard them say they're going to be very aggressive with the development side of young players. And if the answer is no here, totally understood. But I'm thinking about this as you're talking about this. Have you seen kind of systemic changes within the organization this year in the way in which you guys are kind of going about things daily, or do you feel like it's been kind of normal year over year?
Absolutely. No, I've seen a lot of different things being implemented, you know, throughout the season. You know, one thing that I can think of off the top of my head is diamond kinetics and the hit tracks that we have on our bats that we use every day. You know, that's for, you know, seeing different things, you know, contact point, launch angle, attack angle, different things like that. You know, that's just on the hitting side. Then we have, you know, some things on the strength side where we're doing hamstring testing, where, you know, you got to see how strong your hamstrings are, jumping and different things. So, you know, they're making sure that we're definitely improving on all certain aspects. But, you know, I think that it's definitely been a step up since the past couple of years.
How much do you allow yourself to get into the analytical stuff, the launch angle, the exit velo?
I try to, you know, stay away from it as much as possible, but, you know, it's also hard to argue with numbers. So, you know, we got a guy on our team that is the analytics, and I talk with him all the time, you know, talking about tendencies of pitchers, talking about, you know, different movements of pitches. You know, this is also on the catching side as well, not only the hitting side, but, you know, it's really nice to talk with him about that stuff, and our pitching coach and you know, our hitting coaches about that stuff. But, yeah, I think that, you know, it's the analytics are definitely something that, you know, you can't really escape it. It's going to happen. And, you know, it's coming into the game. It's getting more and more present, you know, every single day. And those are something you can't really ignore. And, you know, talking about that is something that I've definitely gotten better with, and, you know, want to continue to do, because, you know, if I can do something that, you know, whatever it is that tweaks something, and, you know, I start hitting the ball better, or, you know, I start receiving better, or I start calling certain pitches better, you know, then, you know, I'm going to do that because I want to improve at least a little bit every single day.
Joe, you grew up in the Buffalo, New York area, not a hotbed for baseball by any means. Myself, I grew up outside of the Rochester area, so I know the area very well. Did you grow up a Bills fan?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
now let me ask you, do you think Allen can beat Mahomes this year?
I think so. I think he's got it. I think he does. You know, I'm a big Bills fan, but, you know, I'm going to be honest, I haven't jumped through a table for him. You know, I haven't lit myself on fire for them.
That's not good, Joe.
I'm not a true Bills fan at the moment, or yet, but, you know, or jump off a 20-foot trailer to land on a table with an RKO. You know, I haven't done any of that, but, you know, I think we got a good chance, and, you know, I'm always supporting the Bills and always supporting the hometown team. So.
Were you a guy that played multiple sports? I mean, sometimes catching coincides with goalies.
Great volleyball player we got here.
That's me. I play volleyball and basketball. Those are my two other sports in high school.
And what were you better at?
Are
volleyball?
you excited for the Summer Olympics? Volleyball.
No, I definitely was a better volleyball player, I'm gonna be honest. That was definitely one of my favorite sports, you know, probably second to baseball. You know, I was an outside hitter, so just, you know, being able to just spike it with authority, and, you know, just it's such a fun game. My mom was a volleyball player. She was the captain of Portland State. And my sister was also a volleyball player. She was a libero. My brother was a volleyball player too. He was also a setter. So, you know, just the volleyball kind of runs in the family a little bit, you know, nothing crazy. We don't have the genetics where, you know, we're 6'6", you know, just our heads over the net. You know, you just got to jump a little bit to spike it. You know, you got to get up there a little bit. But, you know, those sports also helped me out with baseball a ton. And
the Cortland State Red Dragons. So I know what side you were on in the Cortica jug.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't born yet, but yeah, absolutely.
Are you interested in the Olympics then, from the volleyball stuff? The Olympics are great. Will you be tuned in?
I don't know if I'll be tuned in, but I'll definitely watch some highlights of some spikes and some different serves and different things like that. But I haven't really seen or invested my time into volleyball. But I watched the basketball too. I watched the finals and I watched everything like that. So that was pretty cool. But volleyball is definitely the sport that I'd like to continue to get to know and watch.
Kyle, I think I got one more baseball question. I'm sorry, Joe. Do you mind?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Have you envisioned that moment whenever you think you're going to be up there for that moment where you make your major league debut? Like, what are some of the things that you have sort of like allowed your mind to drift about? What does it look like for you?
Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, Game 7 World Series, down by 1. Stuff like that. My mind has definitely went to that place before, and I've definitely had that vision before, and it definitely has. I've definitely stretched its limits, and that's something that I would love to be able to be a part of. Even if it's for whatever, just being a part of that and just having that vision, I think is something that is also a goal that I have to get to there, and it's something that motivates me daily. To do my best and to treat every game like it's my last. So yeah.
Hey Joe, my last question for you, then we'll let you run. I should have asked you this years ago. He's older than you. Have you had any conversation with Jonah Heim at all? He grew up in the area.
I have not. I haven't talked with him, but he did. He grew up in Orchard Park, and my brother actually played against him a couple times in high school, which was pretty cool. But I haven't talked to him. So, but
you guys profile a little bit, kind of you hit the ball a country mile from the left side. I mean, he's a switch hitter, but I wondered if maybe you guys had trained together in the off season or something. But he is about 8 years older, I guess.
Yeah, no, we haven't had any contact. But one of my coaches that actually I work with at Hot Corn Athletics back home where I train at, hits his cousin, so he knows him and they're related. So, which is pretty cool. But I haven't seen him around there or anything. So,
let me give you some quick hitters real quick. What's the music that you listen to?
I like gospel music a lot, and I like gospel rap as well. Rap music is pretty good for me. I'm starting to ease up on country a little bit, because they play it all the time in the clubhouse and always on the fields too. So I'm kind of opening up more to that. And I just like any music that I can just kind of vibe to, kind of
yep.
Just nod my head to, if you will. So
give me your Mount Rushmore of catchers that you love personally.
Yadier Molina, Buster Posey. I guess you got to say Pudge Rodriguez and let's go with Jones because he just won the World Series last year and we talked about him, so we'll go with Jones. He's a really good catcher too. I've tried to do a couple things, model myself behind him a little bit.
What's your thought on Joe Mauer?
He's great. I actually watched these with Harold Reynolds. He had tapes way back in the day, and I would always watch those tapes, and I'm pretty sure he was the catcher for the tapes, and they would go over that, and I would watch that all the time with my dad and my brother, and just learning about that and seeing that. So I have a pretty good take on him. He's a great guy, great baseball player as well. So pretty cool.
Joe, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you carving out time for us. We're cheering for you. We're obviously watching you, and we really do appreciate you joining us here on Long Tossin, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome.